Well, hello, good friends and neighbors. Welcome to the Pillow Talk edition of Pugs and Company. We do this show each and every day at 9 p.m. Central Time. We go a couple of hours, and then we circle back sometime around noon tomorrow for what we like to call the high noon edition of Pugs and Company here on the Radio Misfits Network. Well, hello, James. Welcome into today's show.
The hell happened to you? You take some melatonin before the show, or what?
I don't know. I'm just controlling my my levels, my emotional levels, I guess. I sometimes feel that maybe I rush a little bit much, and maybe I'm bringing a little bit too much heat, a little bit too much passion, a little bit too much. So I just thought maybe I
but this is somewhere between NPR and ASMR. Do you know the ASMR stuff?
Yeah, this is my NPR voice. This is my welcome into Pugs and Kelly, a community program dedicated to serving the needs of those of you in our listening audience. Welcome in.
Yes, thank you for listening to your local public radio station. We're too high and mighty and above the fold to have actual sponsors, but we do have generous donors who have donated money to our program, and we will mention them in exchange for this money, but it's definitely not a commercial.
No,
we're not capitalist pigs.
No, of course not. And we do take donations, folks, just so you know, you don't get a squirrely out there. Don't get it twisted. We do that part. Right. We're kidding about the whole NPR thing, but yes, we are also what they call listener. Look at that. Oh, isn't that a fun little? What is that, James? That's a fun little concoction you've got there.
This is distilled spirits from Tito's Handmade Vodka of Austin, Texas, America's first homemade vodka.
How fun. Isn't that fun?
It is. It's fun. It's very exciting.
Our first guest on Community Clubhouse is a local artist. His name is Emil, and he does some really fun stuff. He does things with colors. He's got shapes. He's not what you might call a traditional portrait guy, but he does do some things that I think you'll all get a kick out of. So please welcome into the Community Clubhouse, local artist Emil. Hi, Emil. How are you? So thank you. Thank you for being here today.
Wow. Are you Mr. Roberts?
No, James and I are doing NPR radio.
I'm running to the kitchen to get a mixer. Be right back.
Fuck, dude.
Why? I didn't know this can was empty. I had a can here of generic diet check.
What a dick.
I know. I'm an idiot. I'll own it. Just let me get a mixer and I'll be right back.
What a dick this guy turned into for no reason. Look at him. He had like 5 minutes. I saw him sitting there for 5 minutes, acting like a clown show, doing nothing. And now the show starts and he's got to go run and get a... How are you, E? You're looking healthy.
Yeah. You think so?
Yeah, why? You're not feeling healthy?
No, I'm feeling healthy. I just don't know that I look healthy.
Right. Well, I think, look, I was trying to make you I know you've been down. I know you've been fighting something. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of good energy.
Oh, I'm 100% back from whatever that was a few days ago. That's for sure.
Have you eaten anything?
Yeah. I ate today. I ate more normal today.
All right, we got a lot of stuff we got to get into today. Yeah, you know what we're gonna do? Oh boy, hey, I had a new idea today, so I'll share that with you. But first, let's get the bullshit out of the way, okay? Moment of joy. Every day he does a moment of joy. Okay, let's watch today's moment of joy. What
a wonderful world we live in.
Get this nonsense out of the way. Hold on, where is it?
Wow, that's a real intro for the moment of joy.
All right, here you go. Look at this.
Joy thus far.
Look at that stupid fucking animal. Look at him, dummy. Hey, you get a bag, stupid. Look at him. He's trying to carry as many oranges as he can at once. You dumb ape. Look at him.
The hell got into bugs, man.
Look at that stupid guy. Those aren't shoes, dummy. Good one.
You're just jealous because you don't have opposable thumbs. And I know this because I'm jealous. I don't have opposable big toe, I should say. I don't have an opposable big toe. I can't carry an orange with my feet, but he can. I'm kind of jealous.
I like the fact he's even got some in his mouth.
Yeah. He's taking advantage of everything. He's probably. Hey, what about your butt cheeks there, Curious George? What's going on? He's got two. He's holding them in his feet. He's got probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in his hands and 1 in his mouth. 9, 10. He's got 11.
I mean, when he gets back to wherever he's headed, His lady friend is going to be real happy with him.
I guess. Except for the one.
Hunter gatherer mode, boy. That guy's got it going on.
That's like the Costco thing where they don't give you any bags when you do your groceries, like Aldi's or something.
Yeah, Aldi. It's me walking out of Aldi.
Yeah, that's what this is.
Trying to get to my car.
Parker's first trip to Aldi's ended weird. Yeah.
Right. There you go. Moment of joy, stupid monkey. Let me tell you something about monkeys too. Oh yeah, that's right. I got a monkey hot take. I'll share my monkey hot take with you. You want to know, everybody? Oh, I'd love to have a monkey. No, you'd love to have a monkey for 15 minutes, and then guess what? They live 60 years. It's like living with a severely retarded but violent child for 60 years who is never going to get a job, who is never going to move out. You're just stuck with that beast. Enjoy your monkey, stupid.
Seems like such a good idea when you're a kid, though. There's nothing better than being able to live with the monkey like you dream of. Like when I grow up and I'm in my 20s, I'm just going to get my own apartment and I'm going to get a monkey. And it makes sense and it sounds great. But yeah, the reality doesn't live up to the hype that you imagined it would be.
It's not a dog. You can make that decision with a dog in 15 years at worst is how long that dog's going to occupy a place in your life. And then you can move on from there. And then you'll be free of it. Monkeys don't die in 10 years. Monkeys hang out for a long ass time.
A family acquaintance, when I was probably about 12 years old, had a monkey as a pet and brought him to the arena. And I was turned off immediately because it was wearing a diaper.
That's a problem. It's a 30-year-old monkey still wearing a diaper. That's
changing diapers for the rest of its life. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not signing up for that. It was bad enough that I had to do 2 years with each one of my kids.
When you are pregnant, you pray and you do all there is in your power. You have all the tests done, all the neonatal vitamins, everything to make sure that child is healthy, because God forbid you have the challenge of a child who has special needs, in worst case, severe special needs, and then you have that. And then what? You go out and buy a monkey, which is essentially that? You're gonna have that thing forever,
right. And Social Security won't cut you a check for the monkey.
No, that's your choice.
You're on your own, pal.
Oh my God.
So one thing you said, James, when he took it to the arena.
Yeah, it's a horse arena. My parents used to do what's called team pinning. Do y'all have any idea what I'm talking about? You know what team pinning is?
Dang-a-lang-a-lang, I ain't got no idea what you're talking about.
I know. I feel like I'm from Mars sometimes when I talk to y'all. Yeah. Team pinning's a thing that's very popular in rural Texas, and it's a horse event. Look it up on YouTube. I'm not explaining this. It's a whole sport. It's a whole sport you never even heard of. It's a whole contest that thousands of people participate in at private rodeo arenas all through the country of Texas. And y'all don't want to know because y'all don't want to drive 40 minutes in a straight direction because you don't want to bump into those people.
Here's my thing. I'm not going to look at how they live. I'm not going to look it up on YouTube because my interest in this begins and ends with your ability to describe it in an entertaining fashion. Okay. So go ahead.
So team penning, like their horses and they do herding?
Man, you're very close. You're very close. Okay, so what happens is there's 30 cows on one end of the arena, and they all have a number on them.
Mm-hmm.
3 of them have the same number. So there's 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, 3 4s, 3 5s, going all the way up from 0 to 9. There's another little within the arena. There's like a square fence that has been built into the arena. When you're riding in, the guy on the loudspeaker tells you what your number is. You got to go into the herd of cows, find your 3 cows that match your number, and get them herded into the pen. And it's a team of 3 or team of 4 sometimes that do it.
4 people on a horse?
They do in 2s, 3s, and 4s.
Okay.
The teams. But it's called team pinning, and so you got to get them in the pen.
So you got like 20, 30 cows, and then you got 4 teams of 4 and 16 horses. Wow, there's a whole bunch of livestock in there.
No. At one time, it's just one team in there, and however fast you can get your 3 cows in there, that's your time.
I got
the next team goes, and they
when they go on a horse.
Like, yeah, they're on a horse. It's like 6. Your number is 6.
I'm out.
6.
I'm out. That sounds stupid.
I think all of the horse stuff is stupid. I think it's
bull riding's cool.
Where it's fun when you're doing it, but as a spectator sport, it means nothing. It's like golf. It's like that's fun when you're doing it, but
it's the worst.
To watch it's really hard to watch golf. I mean, I have to be in like a scene with things going on, and it's just kind of an incidental background
Golf is
activity.
golf is a sport that the world's worst people enjoy. I
No,
can't handle
stop.
golf. I can't handle golf.
So you
World's
Oh,
worst.
it
mentioned
is the
bull
world's
riding.
worst people. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
like bull riding.
the wife is from Keller, right?
Mhm.
And so that's, more kind of what I would call rodeo country than Dallas. And so one day I was like watching bull riding, and she's like, those guys that are wearing like the goalie helmets now or the hockey helmets now, those guys are wimps. I'm like, what? They're riding a bull.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. If they're wearing a helmet, that's those are wimps. I only like the guys that wear cowboy hats. I'm like, they're riding a damn bull.
I'm like, oh, so you like the idiots?
Yeah, that thing is 1,800 pounds and really angry right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't get it. Like, and she's serious.
Of
Like,
course
she
she is.
thinks a bull rider that wears a helmet is a wimp.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, they also
Like,
wear these vests that they have them in are like armor. They're suits of armor
Let's
because
let's put her son on a bull and see if she feels the
that's
same
what
way.
I said to her. I said, well,
Yeah.
what if Dominic started riding a bull? Oh, well, I'd like him to have a helmet on. I said, okay, so then you want him to be a wimp?
Yeah. All right.
got him on that one.
I don't know. I had to share that just because I always find
Like-
that interesting.
Hey, guess what I did? I did my good deed of the day today. I went to the Kroger store, and as I was coming out of the Kroger store, I saw this lady. She had a flat tire, and she was standing by her car, and she looked really upset, and I thought about helping her.
You thought about it?
I did. I thought about helping her. There was another dude who was already helping her, so there's no reason for me to stop what I was doing. But for a
But you
moment,
would have if he hadn't been there, right? You can go ahead and take moral credit without having to do a thing. Yeah,
I felt good about myself. I went, that's a good thing that guy stepped up, because if he hadn't, I would have. I just went on my way.
Were you at the Maple Kroger or the Gay Kroger?
I was at Maple Kroger. Yeah.
Okay.
I like the big Kroger, not the gay Kroger. The gay Kroger is small, a little fancier. They got more gay friendly items.
hardwood floors are a player in the gay Kroger.
I don't know. I know. Just no, but
Watch,
like
go look and tell me, because that's what the Whole Foods does, and that's what Fresh Market does. Yeah.
No, they just have like more exotic brands. It's a smaller Kroger. The Kroger that I go to is like the normal Kroger. A supermarket. It's big.
like a big. No, the Kroger you go to on Maple is like a big Kroger.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's a really big one. The one over on the Gay Kroger.
It's for people who need to run out for wine and cheese.
No, it's not. It's a decent sized store. The only thing that pisses me off is
about a third smaller.
Every aisle is self checkout. They don't have anybody that checks you out.
Oh yeah, you hate that.
No, I can't stand it. But I went there the other day, and I don't know. Somehow I got lucky. Like, the lady bagged everything. Like, they have like bagger people there that normally scan your big stuff. But I think she saw me, or maybe she heard that I don't like going there because they don't bag anything, and she bagged my whole cart. I was very happy.
Looks like you had a good experience. Good for you.
I did.
Kroger payoff. So after I almost helped that lady, but still took moral credit for it, I pulled around the front, and you know what happened? You know, this is another one of my pet peeves about the grocery store. Oh, jeez, can you believe this is happening? Trash people. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to describe it anymore. Just trash people in a trash car with their trash haircuts. They just pull up right in front, right in front where it's the busiest, right in front of the store where people are coming.
Where the speed bumps are?
Yeah, where the speed bumps are. They just stop. And then they're like, and there's like 15 kids in the car, and then like some big old fat ant gets out of the back seat, and they're just sitting there, and now there's like 5 cars behind them going, what the hell? You can't just stop. It was insane. I was stuck. People, trash people. They didn't give a shit. It's their world. I don't count.
You make sure they didn't have the handicap sticker?
They
They didn't have no handy. What they were doing it too late. Half the big fat ants in the car were too lazy to walk from wherever they were going to have to park. So they dropped them off in the front. And because they were like big fat 50-year-old ant ladies, it took them like 10 minutes to just get out of the back seat of the SUV. And then there was like some discussion about whether one of the kids was going to come with them. So it's like, come on, are you coming? And it's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to. And I'm behind them going, let's go. What are we doing here? And meanwhile, there's like 5 other cars behind me. Now it's all jacked up. Fucking people, man. Seriously.
So this is the Kroger Fresh Fair. That one?
I don't know. It's Kroger Medical District. It's right over there.
Yeah, Medical District. But a lot of times, like, you see the big fat ant, like, and then they've got the handicap sticker. And, you know, I think their handicap is that they're fat.
No.
Yeah,
no.
Well, no, I'm serious. Like, they waddle.
I've made that observation. Like, man, should we let someone, because they're suffering from obesity, get the front row parking spot? Don't they need to park in the back?
That's how I feel about it.
Thank you. This is my brother, my long lost brother right here. I've been saying that for years.
Walking it off might be a little
right. Like, we're just enabling them by giving them the handicap sticker.
Hey, I'm saving your life. Go park at the back, okay?
Maybe if 20 years ago you had started parking at the back, you wouldn't need a handicap sticker today.
Yeah, and when you go into Kroger, as soon as you go to the left, there's the fruit.
I count my steps. I got my pedometer. I try and get as many steps as I can every day. So whenever I park at a grocery store, I always park in the very far row.
That don't work.
No, yeah, well, it does. Well, look, hey, man, every little bit of exercise helps. Every little bit works. Every little pump of the heart works. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not running wind sprints up and down the street the way I should be, or doing my 2.5, 3 miles a day the way I once did. But it helps. Counting steps counts, man. 10,000 steps, you lose weight. You will. It's worked for me. Unfortunately, these days, I'm down at around 2,500 steps a day. I need to get up to 10 grand again. If I can get up to 10 grand, then I'll be able to eat whatever I want, and I'll start to slowly lose a little bit of weight. But as it is, it ain't working for me. But what is it with people? What's the deal with people? All right. Should we do a monologue?
Yep, if you want.
What do I want? Yeah, that's kind of what we do around here every night at this time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Guest House Lounge, high atop the 1% compound in beautiful Highland Park, Texas. Every night we welcome to the stage the global sensation, the man of mirth himself, James Hamilton Parker.
Thank you. All right. Hey, they're having a crime wave in Vegas.
Be funny.
What?
I said be funny.
Okay. Crime wave in Vegas. You hear about this one, guys?
I did not.
Yeah, crime spiraling.
How was it?
Crime is spiraling out of control, and that's just among the Raiders. All right. After 28 years, Brian Williams is leaving NBC News. He said he wants to spend more time lying to his family.
Oh.
No, nothing.
Yeah, I liked it.
Oh, well, he's slow on the effects because that was a damn good joke.
Yeah, so I was going to lay out on that one. I figured I could either just choose that one to lay out on or be really late with the sound effects. So there you go. But you're
Paul
right.
Rudd has been named.
Wait. That's what
I hate that. God damn it.
There you go.
That's like insulting when you do that. Paul Rudd has been named People Magazine's sexiest man alive. And can you believe that? I was robbed again this year. Like, should have been me last year. I mean, we'll get it right one of these days. According to National Enquirer, Angelina Jolie's weight has plunged down to 98 pounds. She is so skinny, you can see her bones through her tattoos.
She's a national treasure. A national treasure, that one is. She makes out with her brother.
Ew. According to a new report, Mississippi is the fattest state in the country. The second fattest state is whichever one your mom's in right now. See, that one wasn't about Pug's mom. That was about the guy listening. I was talking about your mom. Yeah. Mick Jagger's girlfriend, Melanie Hamrick, insists that she doesn't even notice the fact that there's a 43-year age difference between the two. She also said she is completely unable to distinguish between a grape and a raisin. Hey, I got a giggle out of sunglasses. That must have been a good one.
Grape and a raisin.
Today's Veterans Day.
You know it's good when they repeat the punchline under their breath.
Well, he is somewhat of a raisin.
Today's Veterans Day. Just remember the banks are closed and the post office will not be losing your mail. Okay. And finally,
post office jokes. What is it, 1960? Come on, update your material.
My mom works at the post office, so if she sees this, I like to bust her chops a little bit. And finally, oh, shut up, Emily. Marginally better. Did you see the Austrian brothel, the whorehouse in Austria? They're giving free services to any customer who gets a vaccine. I know that it sounds ridiculous, but it's true though. I'm on my 9th shot. So no, it's finally. That's the finale. I would know I'm on my 9th shot. It's such a killer punchline. Damn it.
Did I ever tell you about the night I spent in an Icelandic brothel with Russian mobsters?
Yeah.
That's a story for another time. It's one of my great stories. You can read all about it in my book, Things I've Done. All right. What are we going to do today? James, you always like to come out of the show. I hate that. Just give me the full screen. I don't want the Orwellian thing. There you go. There he is. Look at him. Look. Oh, what is it? What is this? What?
What are you going through the comments now? Is that what you're doing?
No. I had something I was going to click on and I accidentally highlighted it and deleted the link. And I don't remember what it was because I didn't write good enough notes as to what it was. So, okay. Hey, as predicted by me last week, OBJ to the Rams. I said OBJ to the Rams. Everyone, nah. How about that? They're building a super team out there in LA.
Is that official?
It's official. Yeah. OBJ to the Rams. Here's the interesting thing, though, about it. Did he talk to Deshaun Jackson? Because Deshaun Jackson just walked away from that team for not getting any targets. And OBJ walked away from his team for not getting any targets. What does OBJ think? He's going to go in and Cooper Kupp has more targets than anyone in the NFL. He is the most important part of that offense. Sean McVay's entire offense is built around Cooper Kupp.
It should be.
And OBJ is now going to go and be second banana. I think I said this earlier. They're either going to win the Super Bowl or they're going to just be the most spectacular crash and burn. There's going to be crazy distractions. I mean, look.
I mean, last week they added Von Miller.
They're building a super team. They got Jalen Ramsey.
Wait, they added Von Miller?
Yep.
No, last week.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
and Von Miller, who is, who Von Miller's best friend in the league is?
No idea.
Tannehill.
Well, I don't know if they're best friends, but this ought to be a hint. Their wives are best friends. OBJ. Oh, no. Sorry, wrong one. Anyway, those were two fun facts that I learned today about the OBJ situation. It's Von Miller and OBJ are really good friends, and it was Von Miller who convinced OBJ to come to the Rams over the Packers because there was a really close chance that he was going to the Packers. But here's the beautiful thing. You know who really pursued him? Was Belichick, and Belichick couldn't land him. The bloom is off the rose. Do you remember when every player wanted to play for Belichick?
Yeah, the rejects. Like, that's why you would leave your team so you could go play for Belichick. That's what Antonio Brown did. That's what Randy Moss did. Yeah, there's a long list of those guys.
Oh, yeah. A long list of those guys going back a decade. It's not.
And that's over, huh? That is over.
Well, you know what? I guess, because, Brady ain't there anymore. So I guess, look, Odell don't want to be playing with no rookie quarterback. He doesn't. He's got Matthew Stafford, who's an incredible quarterback, who unfortunately spent the best parts of his career playing for the Detroit Lions, which is, sad. But hey, whatever. But no, I think there's gonna be here's the bad news for Emil. Your team is probably going to the Super Bowl, possibly from the AFC. How will you be able to stand another Super Bowl loss if the Rams just
I
run
know.
over you guys? Come on. It looks like the NFC is building a super team, and you guys are right in line to be next to the slaughter.
No, I don't know. I'm still not convinced we're going to the Super Bowl. We
Really?
lost to friggin' Jacksonville last week, dude.
Yeah.
9-6.
Nah. You'll right the ship. There ain't no. Are you watching this game tonight? Miami looks like they're crushing. Well, it's the close score, but Miami is hanging and banging with the Ravens. The Ravens are supposed to be one of your main competitions, and I don't know, man. The Ravens can't even. Lamar Jackson is shut down in the first half by the Miami Dolphins defense. I mean, I don't know. The AFC is a mess. The Kansas City Chiefs aren't any good. You got the Titans, but they don't even have Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
They're trotting out there Adrian Peterson. I mean, meanwhile, NFC's got the Cowboys, the Packers, the Rams. Those teams all look good, although, let's not kid ourselves about the Cowboys. Wasn't exactly. OBJ is overrated. One catch. No, he's not.
He's had more than one. He's had
more than one. OBJ is a pretty damn good receiver. The problem with him is that he's coming off an ACL. I mean, and he had some dropsies this year. He had some dropsies early when he was coming back, but the apologists for OBJ say that he wasn't completely healthy yet, and now he's completely healthy, and whatever. We'll see. They're gonna be a good team though. Let's see here. Oh, I'm so thirsty. Ugh. I had meatballs for dinner. These meatballs that I buy that I eat for dinner are like really salty. James, you got anything you want me to jump in with something?
Well, can I just, while we're on the sports topic, any thoughts about Cam Newton going back to Carolina?
Yeah, that's good. My thoughts are that why not? Let him retire there, right?
He's not going to start or anything, right?
A lot of people he's going to probably start soon.
Oh yeah. They don't like Darnold.
I think the best thing that it is all those people that had Newton jerseys. They're all back in style again.
Yeah.
Think about that. You had that jersey, like he's gone. Are you wearing it? Probably not. But now you can.
And his problem, if I remember, was with Rivera, wasn't it? Wasn't that where the
at the tail end there, yeah.
And so he's not there anymore. It's a new coach. And these star players like Cam Newton, they always stay in tight with the owners. The billionaire, rich old white guy always likes to be friend with the young black athlete. So they stay close no matter what. I like Cam Newton. That dude is broken, though. I mean, he can't throw more than 5 yards downfield anymore. At least from last year with the Patriots, it didn't look like he could. Maybe he's healthy. I don't know. But there's a lot of teams in the league that didn't want anything to do with him. So, he's been sitting on the bench this long, the figurative bench, he hasn't been on a roster. So nobody's been taking a look at him. And, but whatever. I like Cam Newton. I think he's a great personality. I think he's good for the game. I think that when he was at his best, like his MVP year, I think that he was just highlight reel television. You had to watch him. He was terrific.
I thought he was going to be good for the next 15 years too. After those first three, like when he went to that Super Bowl and lost against Peyton Manning, I thought
he'd be back. He'd be back.
Guy, he's going to be knocking on the door every year, like a Roethlisberger or a maybe not as good as a Brady, but one of those guys that's always up there. And fast decline.
More football talk. You know what is really interesting? Have you guys noticed the reclamation project that is Michael Vick? Michael Vick is back in the mainstream of NFL football. He's on the Thursday night broadcast tonight. He's wearing a suit. He's doing analysis at halftime, and
But that's been now for like 2 years, 3 years.
No, not as high profile as he has been this season. It's like this. He's slowly started to make his way back into civilized society.
It's surprising that they put him in that spot to begin with.
What do you mean?
There's 1,000 other people who have the same sort of name recognition as Michael Vick that could do that job.
That didn't kill a bunch of dogs.
So it does really feel, yeah, that didn't snap dogs' necks in front of their children's faces because it kept peeing on the rug. Oh my God, he killed a puppy in front of his kid's face. That
Oh,
that
yeah.
came out in the trial.
Oh,
Like,
dude, he's a psychopath. If you read the stuff that he did, and now you see him, like I'm watching him today, and I'm like, oh, isn't he pleasant?
oh, speaking of, Bill says Dexter's back on Sunday night. Speaking of psychopaths, people that enjoy causing harm and injury to other living things. Yeah, Dexter's back on.
Yeah, Dexter is back on Sunday.
Thanks.
Oh, speaking of which, James, where are you on Narcos? Have you jumped into the new season of Narcos Mexico?
No, I have to paint the kids' rooms, and I'm still prepping the house to be sold. I've done nothing as far as intake of media in the last week.
Okay, that's understandable.
It sucks, man. I feel inadequate right now.
I'm 5 episodes in, and it's awesome. This season is really good.
It has to be.
It is, of course.
They left it on such a good setup. Like Squid Games was left on such a good setup. That season 2 has a chance to be really good. That's so good to hear.
First of all, we got Pacho back. Pacho and the Cali Cartel boys are back. The brothers, the Herrera brothers, I believe they are. And then El Chapo. we're getting the rise of El Chapo, and Chapo is basically running around like a stupid polo tucked into it. I mean, remember how ridiculously out of style Pablo Escobar was? He was like fat and dumpy, and like he wasn't like a billionaire. You'd think the suits and and all that stuff, and Escobar was just like a total slob of a guy.
Yeah, and like an Izod short sleeve shirt.
Right. Yeah. Khaki shorts. Chapo is just as bad, except Chapo is played essentially like half a retard. Like he's the least likely of all of the Sinaloa cartel guys that you would think is going to rise to be like the godfather of this operation, because he's hot-headed. He can't control his emotions. He makes one stupid decision. He's like, the Chapo, cut it out. Like it's always Chapo who's screwing shit up.
Hey, but who figured out the tunnels? Chapo.
Chapo.
Who bought the land on the other side of the border? The house.
Yeah. Who decided that the desert wasn't, nobody wanted the desert border crossing, and Chapo, he made the deal with the Gulf people to buy the desert because nobody wanted it. And then they said no. So Chapo killed them all.
It's also the thing about Chapo that might be lost in translation is I speak enough Spanish that I could turn off the subtitles and follow along. I would miss a lot, don't get me wrong, but instead of reading, I can actually kind of focus on the audio that's actually being given. And from the English perspective, just diving a little bit into Spanish, he sounds like that, like that Lenny and Squiggy delivery.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone else picks that up, but he kind of has that weaselly tone, and he talks kind of nasally, and he draws out like certain parts of the sentence, like where it doesn't seem like it's supposed to fit.
He's a dummy. He's a dummy thug.
Yeah, but it kind of has that
top job.
Like when people who are not Italians try and play Italians on TV, like some sort of New Jersey, I don't know, Buffalo, New York kind of mafia type.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, you don't lose the bastard. Yeah, 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 yeah. So like they just stick on words and syllables. It just seems like almost randomly. The guy who plays El Chapo does that, and it cracks me up. It's such a character.
My favorite thing about El Chapo is his Pete Rose haircut.
He does have a Pete Rose haircut.
Rose haircut through the whole thing. He looks like Mo Howard. He's just a dummy. Oh, all right. So if you're not watching Narcos Mexico season 3, well, first of all, if you're unfamiliar with Narcos Mexico season 3, might I suggest you go all the way back to the beginning and watch Narcos season 1. You got to go. Right, yeah, right. You got to see the whole bill. You got to go Narcos season 1, Narcos season 2, Narcos season 3. Then you got to go Narcos Mexico season 1, Narcos Mexico season 2, and now we're in Narcos Mexico season 3. The first 3 seasons deal with the Colombian cocaine cartels, the Cali cartels, and Cali and Medellin and Pablo Escobar and the DEA chasing them. And then when that shit goes down, when Pablo gets killed, it all moves to Mexico. And that's where you have the Juarez cartels and the Sinaloa cartels. And, because, it's interesting to me because we've been hearing for decades now about all of this, drug cartel violence in Mexico. And, I'm a gringo and I hear these names like Sinaloa and Juarez and Chihuahua. I don't know anything about them. I'm just like, oh, those are places. But now I'm learning all about them. I'm like, it's becoming more full and well-rounded. And I'm like, oh, okay. So Chapo was Sinaloa. In Sinaloa, they were like the dirt bags. They were like the poor people. Tijuana, the Tijuana Plaza operators, they were the ones that had all, or I guess it's Plaza operators. They were the ones with all the money, and they made the deal with the Colombians, and they basically gave little breadcrumbs to the other Juarez and Sinaloa and all that, until the other smaller ones got greedy. And that's when Sinaloa went to war with everybody. And that's where we are now. Right now where it's like the start of the crazy Mexican drug wars.
Well, I also like how they could go back and choose any starting point, just to back up the story, because really anytime before Kiki Camarena was legit as far as a starting point, but they chose when I forgot the guys. Huh?
The jumping off point was his death.
No, the jumping off point for the beginning of Narcos Mexico season 1 was when that dude, I think it was Raja, developed the weed that didn't have seeds in it.
Man,
and so that's how the Sinaloa Plaza rose to the top of the cartel, because everyone else that was selling weed had a bunch of stems and seeds in it, and he came up with the seedless strain. And so then theirs became more popular, which made it more expensive, which means they could get more for it. And that's how they rose up. But it started with some little nerd, some little green thumb guy out in the desert developing strains of weed until he came up with the seedless strain of weed.
So we're not going to go into all the details, but last night, I'm on episode 5 now. And last night was the episode. See, all of the stuff is true. It's all like, if you remember big news stories from the last 20 years, some of these things will be like, oh, I remember when that happened. Like last night was the episode where, do you remember when the Roman Catholic cardinal of, I don't know where it was, he was a cardinal in the Roman Catholic Church, was killed in a gang fight at the Tijuana airport. He was flying to Rome. He was flying to the Vatican to meet with the Pope. And he was just sitting in his car waiting to unload his bags. And then all of a sudden, like all this stuff. And that is when the Mexican government, because everybody in Mexico is Catholic, that's when the Mexican government went, oh shit, we got to do something about this now. And that's when they called the DEA. And that's when the DEA and the Mexican federales joined forces. And that's when the big crackdown and war on the cartels in Mexico started. So I just passed that episode. And I remember when that happened. That was like in early 90s, like 90 or 91 or something. Because that was a big deal. It was.
I don't remember that, but remember, I'm Protestant, so I mean, Cardinals. You're not Catholic, so I don't know what it is. I don't know what that means.
Well, Catholic cardinals don't get assassinated.
They do. But I assume he wears red because his name's Cardinal. Like Cardinal Red. Does he look like Stanford color Cardinal? Is that
he was basically a dude on the short list to be Pope. Like if there was a Pope election, this dude was that
high up.
And normally, those guys that are in the cartels, they're Catholic, and whether or not they're criminals, they're still devout a lot of times. They just think they're doing a different job.
They justify it. Yeah. I mean, there's a whole lot of Catholic, like it's a lot like the Italian mafia.
Right.
There's a whole lot of weird.
It's just a different. It's a different day job, but they're still very Catholic.
I never whacked anyone that didn't have it coming.
Right.
Is that what they say, Emil?
Yeah. It's a weird mindset. Let's just put it that way.
Cardinal Juan Jesus Posada is the cardinal that was. Oh
killed. Man, Jesus was his middle name.
Yeah, look at that.
You think he pulled that out? Hey, it's Cardinal Posada. No. Jesus is my middle name.
Here it is. On May the 24th, 1993, Cardinal Posada, along with 6 other people, were killed in the parking lot of Guadalajara International Airport. He was inside his car and received 14 gunshots.
Woo!
A government inquiry concluded he was caught in a shootout between rival cocaine cartels. He was. And was mistakenly identified as a drug lord. Yeah, they thought because he was in like a fancy car, like and he had like bodyguards and stuff.
Man, I'd hate to have been that guy that went back to the boss and figured out that he got shot at Cardinal.
He might have just been
killed.
Well, do you know the target was? The target was El Chapo. They were trying to El Chapo was trying to get out of town because
In
the
'93, he was already
yeah.
that big?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, this was when, Chapo wanted the desert, and they wouldn't sell him the desert, so he decided that he would just kill them instead, like a much more powerful crime boss, and he went to his birthday party dressed as cops, him and all of his boys, and they murdered, like, a whole bunch of people in his family, and then they were like, "Chapo, you dummy. No, you can't if you come at the king, you got it." You know what I mean? It's that whole thing, "You come at the champ, you best not miss." Well, Chapo missed, and so he was trying to get out of town. He was trying to get on an airplane, and they sent their thugs to kill him. And they mistook the cardinal and the cardinal's entourage of bodyguards and stuff for El Chapo. They just slaughtered him. It was ridiculous.
Wow. Well, yeah, okay. If he was coming from a costume contest, I can see why I think maybe he was dressed as like the Emperor's guard from Return of the Jedi. You know, the dudes are dressed all in red. They kind of look like cardinals do, don't they? If I'm
It
thinking of
was
the right Catholic dude.
fancy. Well, he was dressed in fancy robes and stuff. But then the DEA got involved. Oh, here it is. Okay, according to a cable from the Defense Intelligence Agency, the cardinal was mistaken for Joaquin Guzman Loera, El Chapo. That's Chapo's real name. The head of the Sinaloa cartel. No one was ever punished for the slaying itself, although charges related to the homicide would be filed. And the Americans got involved. The DEA got involved because the hitmen that were hired, they always, you know this, the mob, they always hire the out of town slingers. They don't want their own guys to be attached to it. So the what cartel was it? The Tijuana cartel actually hired San Diego gangbangers. So it was all American Mexican gangbangers who did the job and accidentally killed the cardinal. So that's how the DEA had to get involved. They're like, oh, crap. And now we got Americans involved in the death of a cardinal. We're going to have to fix this. So that was the jumping off point. It's good, man. It's really good this season.
So that's in one of the episodes, the cardinal killing.
That's episode 4. Yeah, it deals with how Chapo goes on the run. Slippery dude, El Chapo. He was a slippery dude, man. He escaped a lot of shit in his life.
Some of the stuff I do remember is what gets in your meat hooks about Narcos, like the original Narcos. I remember Pablo Escobar bombing the plane.
Yeah.
I remember the Supreme Court of Colombia getting taken over by the communist college kid idiots. And I remember seeing the pictures of him with his little zoo and he's on the motorcycle, like the ones they were showing me. Because they kept showing it over and over. They don't have a whole lot of B-roll on the world's biggest drug lord, right? So that B-roll that they were rolling in Narcos, I remember seeing that over and over and over and over on the news just for periods of years.
Just to get an idea of how much money Pablo Escobar had, in 1981, the Medellin cartel was pulling down $5 billion a year. In 1981, nobody had $5 billion in 1981.
No, and that's like $20 billion a year now.
Yes, that's
and didn't he make an offer to pay off like the country's debt if they would just make him not go to prison?
Yep, drop the charges.
Yeah, just drop the charges. I'll pay off the country's debt.
The entire debt of the country.
They should have taken it.
I got this. I got to check. And then when he did go to jail, he brokered because they knew that like if they were going to try and take him all out war, because he was paying, he basically had an army, of dudes he was paying.
A whole payroll of the country.
Right. Yeah. So they had to make a deal. America had started to put such huge sanctions on the country for not dealing with Escobar because all the cocaine was coming into Miami and causing all kinds of problems. You know what I mean? We were having problems over here because of what this guy was doing there. And so we were trying to get their country to handle it and they wouldn't handle it. So the American government put all of these like sanctions on the country. So finally they went to Escobar and they said, look, you gotta throw us a bone here. The gringo Yankees are all over us. Can we arrest you? And he's like, right.
He built his own prison.
Yes. And he's like, I have one condition. I will build my own prison. And he built like a luxury resort with barbed wire fence around it. And he had hookers and he had parties and he had big screen TVs. And remember the barbecues they would have where a rider truck would pull up and they'd open the back and like 50 hookers would get out of the back. And it was crazy. And everybody else in the prison were his boys. It was like a frat house.
Right.
Yeah.
Albert in the chat room raises a good question. I've always wondered this. Why is it okay for a Hispanic person to be named Jesus, but you will never see a gringo with that name? I've always wondered that. Like, why does that work? Is it maybe because it's not Jesus, it's Jesus? But
Oh,
same
it's the
thing.
same thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
It's
it's the
just
same thing,
yeah.
and we also have a couple of other weird things around our naming of Jesus in
We have
English.
a shit ton of Chris's and Christians, though. I mean, which could almost be the same thing. Anybody that's
No, it's
yes,
not even
anyone that's named
Jesus.
Chris or Christian that derives from Christianity, so
Well,
Yeah,
they
but
also
Jesus is like the Son of God.
yeah, but they also have a
well, you
tendency
say,
to name their kids things like Angel. I know a guy, his name
yeah.
is Angel Jesus Barrio. It's like Angel Jesus is your name. Your mom fairly religious?
Christianity has yeah, you're right though. I mean, like all of the biblical names of the Caucasian world, John, Joe, Mary, those are all we don't have Jesus though. We don't. We
Yeah,
don't.
but that's what I'm
We
saying.
didn't pick
It's
that one up.
almost like we stayed off of that name
Yeah.
intentionally.
Yeah,
A
and
lot
so
of pressure
then
comes with that
There's
name.
a lot of pressure on that name, yeah.
yeah, and then right, you got to live up to that. But then you see a lot of Jesuses in the Hispanic world, but you see even more Muhammads in the Muslim world.
True.
Not only do they not stray away from it, it's literally their most popular boy name year in, year out.
But you don't see Allah's. Allah's the big one. Muhammad is,
Well, we're
just
not naming our kids Yahweh in neither of the essays. Like there's not Hispanics that have like they're calling their kids Dios.
yeah, but Muhammad was just a prophet. Muhammad's like John. Like what John is to
Isn't Muhammad like
Christians.
the Muslim equivalent of Jesus? I know they have Jesus too, but he's their main prophet, and you're supposed to do what he says. And
I
No,
in
mean,
Christianity, he's the
he's
main
like their
prophet.
John the Baptist. He's like their John the Baptist.
Okay.
why did they stop it like Jesus? Why didn't they just start naming people God?
Well,
It's
yeah.
not a name. That's like a
I bet you
ethereal
there's someone
concept.
named God. I bet there's people named God
Oh
out
yeah,
there.
sure.
Or Buddha?
Buda Baker, football player from the 1970s. I remember him.
I believe that.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. Hey, I found something I thought would be interesting for us to watch. I stumbled across this, and it was an article that I was reading, but then I clicked on it, and there's a whole YouTube video that goes along with it. So I was wondering, would you guys like to watch a YouTube video on how to pretend you aren't high in public? So maybe we could go through it.
I think we could probably make that video, couldn't we?
Well, it's fun. I mean, I watched it, and so I decided that yeah, this might be something that we
This
could
is a
do.
dude that's really paranoid making the video. I
No,
can
it's not.
already tell. But yeah, well, come on. Like, you're really concerned enough to make a video about how to act?
Well, no, you're okay. You'll see. You'll see what I'm talking. It's not. It's not that. It's not what you think it is. It's actually a nice, like, she looks like a school librarian who's teaching you how to not be high. It's pretty fun. All right, so let's watch this, and then we'll pause it as we go, and we'll talk about each of the tips. Okay, so here we go. This is, again, I was gonna do that. Normally, I would just do this as the article, but I saw that this was a video, and I thought, yeah, we have the capability to just play the video, and we can stop the video, and we can talk about it as we go. So let's try it like this. Okay, there you go. You see her? Look at that nice lady. That nice lady is gonna teach us how not to be high in public. Well, let me close a couple of these things. All right, here we go. Make it bigger for you. All right, hi, nice lady. Here we go. Oh.
I see you just smoked weed. Hey, friend. I see you just smoked weed. And you've got to go outside where the normal people are right now. But don't panic. I'm going to help you hide the fact that you're high as shit.
Okay.
Intro.
First of all, take a deep breath and stay calm. Hey, you gotta focus, buddy. You've got some things to do before you leave the house.
Okay, first, let me ask the first question, because this was something that I came across while
The
watching.
shithole apartment is what you're bringing up, Brian. God, what is
No.
going on?
No, I was going to ask you, James. James,
Yes.
would you?
I already answered it because I knew what you were going to say, and the answer is yes.
Buffalo? Would you?
Hell no.
Oh, come on.
Kind of attracted to her. Got to admit, I'm kind of attracted
the
to her.
apartment already's got me turned off.
That's not her apartment.
What is it?
It's like her teenage
Stoner
son's
apartment. She's appealing to her target demo, people who are stoned in the middle of the day.
I'm just imagining a big mess.
That's not her apartment. She probably has a lovely place. She has a lovely condo. It's very clean. I don't know. I start. The more I watched this, the more I thought I'm kind of attracted to this lady.
Definitely.
All right. Step 1. Get rid of the smell.
Oh, yeah. We're going to need to do something about that smell. Whew. If you can't change your clothes, no problem. We'll just Febreze the hell out of them. Rub some scented lotion onto your hands.
No.
Now you smell like roses.
And weed.
Or something.
Okay. So there you go. She's not lying. I mean, did either of you guys ever have any kind of Axe body spray or some kind of wet wipes or something that you would use? Because your hands smell. If you were one of them bowl smokers, like somebody who would sit in your car and your hands reek. And the only people who don't know you smoked weed is you. You're the only one. You reek when you smoke weed, and then you come, hey guys, man, I was just out in the parking lot. Everybody's like, yeah, we know. You totally reek of weed. So you got to do something to take care of that. James, any thoughts on the Febreze and the lotion?
Man, like this is hitting so close to home because I had a co-host for 3 years that would come into work at 2 PM every day. Hi, like were you just like smoking a joint through the parking lot and you flicked it out right before you came in the door? Because that's how bad you smell right now. And I know he's like, what? And he's like checking. He's like, what are you checking for?
I don't think
you
they
can't
smell
it. Yeah, you can't smell it. I can. And
everybody can.
And we are going to have a meeting if anyone else smells you. And do you have to do this every damn day? Tell you what, hit your bong like 20 minutes before you have to go to work. Like, just give it like a second to die off. Don't hit it like
stand out on the porch for 20 minutes. Just let the air blow on you. Don't come right back inside.
Well, yeah, and also like if you have to, time it out. You got to be at work at 2. Smoke your heart out at 1:40. Go take a shower, change clothes, put on clean clothes, come here. You live 5 minutes away. And no one has to know, like, can't you plan your whole day around it? Like,
and then when you get out of the shower, don't take another hit. You're just going to defeat the whole purpose of taking the shower. I know you want to. I know you feel like you need one more hit, but
yeah, no. and it's not a high bar I'm asking him to jump. I'm not saying you can't smoke weed before work or you can't smoke weed during the day or you can only smoke weed after work or you can only smoke weed on weekends. I'm just saying, don't smoke like on the way to work, like the second before you come to work. Like,
you guys are a bunch of big pussies. Come on.
Now, E, what were you? Were you a cologne guy? Did you have a bottle of cologne you kept in the glove box?
Hell no.
He never had to care.
Yeah. I don't care.
Well, when you own the business,
never had an HR department.
When you don't have a boss, I guess it doesn't really matter. All right, continuing on. Tip number 1: make sure you don't smell. Tip 2.
Do you want to hear my impersonation of you? It's this. You've got a real case of cottonmouth.
Yeah.
A mint or some chewing gum will take care of that.
Gum.
Sip on an iced coffee. The caffeine will make you more alert and it will keep your dry mouth hydrated.
Tip 3.
Wear sunglasses to hide those bloodshot eyes. Now you look cool.
Going on with you sunglasses?
Oh, that was it. Like every night, like that's I would wear them, of course.
Oh, I just noticed someone else in the show is wearing sunglasses at night. That's so weird.
Who?
Well, there's the lady that you and I have fallen in love with, and some other guy.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
This is a coincidence, I'm sure.
Like, I'm not wearing sunglasses.
Why I did this? Like I'm the Fonz. But if you're inside, the sunglasses will look sketchy.
Yep. Sure
Instead, use redness-reducing eye drops. There you go.
All right. Talk as little as possible. That's
You know what a high person would do?
James, you got a thought on this? Because when you're high, yeah, talk as little as possible, especially if you're really high. Although, I don't know, maybe you mastered it. But yeah, I find myself chasing rabbits in just small one-on-one conversations with people when I'm high.
It affects people differently. Some people become chatterboxes. Some
Me.
people kind of shut down like Emil. And I think I might be right between you two, where I don't say much, but what I do say happens to be bizarre.
Well, see, my whole thing is that I try to prove to everybody that I'm not high by just being as gregarious as possible. And in being as gregarious as possible, I reveal to everyone that I'm high. So that's my problem.
You're like, I sure am active and alert and not high right now.
Yeah.
Ramble on and on. And we were in the fishing department, which I don't believe there is a fishing department in department stores, but I think in this one there was. And you were selling ball gowns. It was so funny. See? Way too much. So hush up, you old chatterbox. Try to speak only when spoken to. Or just smile. Okay, not like that. Less crazy. There you go.
This is a good one. I've used this one.
Let's say your eyes are too red to fix.
Okay. Can we comment on that kitchen?
Yeah. What is that? Her mother's kitchen?
No, that's her teenage son or her college-age daughter's kitchen who's dating a guy in a
obviously has organizational problems.
Yes.
The 23-year-old male stoner's kitchen, okay?
Look, let me point something out. Look at this woman. This woman does not, look at the way she's dressed. She does not operate in a kitchen that looks like this. This is not her kitchen. We need to stop that. That's just an example.
Your face is puffy and your voice is hoarse from hours upon hours of heavy bong usage. It's time to tell everyone you've got a bad cold. Carry tissues with you and pretend you're too miserable to be anywhere but back home in bed. Oh, I'm so sick. Now you're ready to head out to interact with normal people in the regular world. You can handle your grandma's birthday party, a surprise visit from your parents, or a job interview like a champ. Really, guys? Job interview? We're going to tell them that it's... Okay.
Pretty bad advice.
You've got to be really
right,
high
there you
to
go.
not like and subscribe to Life.
All right. Well, I like that I subscribed that. That was from an article that I found on lifehacker.com, and it had the accompanying video. So I thought we'd just let the video play. I thought those were all very good advice, good tips for you little eaglers out there who are trying to go out in the world. I like what she said. You can now handle a visit with your grandparents. It's like, how many people have been stoned around?
The most organized part of that video was when she was outside on the lawn.
Yeah, all right. But James, yeah, we like her, right? I mean, we'd take that out for drinks. I'd take that out for drinks.
So yeah, Emily pointed out she looks like Peach. Remember Peach? She kind of does.
Who's Peach?
Peach was that thin girl. She had glasses, but other than that, she looked a lot like the woman that was in the video, except she had like big, I don't know, were they fake? I think they might have been fake, but she had ridiculous perky boobs.
I like Sean. Sativa in the streets, indica in the sheets. I like that. By the way, do you guys know what you are? Are you sativa or indica guys?
I don't even know what that means. People have
Sativa.
explained it to me, but
I'm a sativa guy too. I think it's creatives. Creatives love the little energy. Here, James, here's how you understand.
No. I think it's like the vodka thing where if I handed you one and asked you to guess which one it was, you wouldn't be able to tell.
No, it's completely different. It's like Coke and 7-Up. It's completely different.
Okay.
Just think of it this way. Indica, you sink indica couch. Indica is the one that indica couch. Indica is the one, that's how I remember it. Indica is the one that is the downer, that'll chill you out, that'll make you catatonic. Whereas sativa is the one that makes you creative and think and
Sativa the couch.
Paint. No, there's no real there isn't one of those for sativa, but that's how you remember it. Indica is the downer and sativa is the one that sparks more creative. And like sativa will make me stay up till 4:00 in the morning. Indica, I fall asleep by 11:45. And that is not like the vodkas, James. Trust me, when you exist in a world of legalized weed where you're able to buy both and try them both at different times, I mean, you'll definitely get. They really are. It's like caffeinated coffee and decaf. It really is. But some people like people who are very anxious, they need indicas. They need stuff that is going to like take the edge off their day and make them relax. That's like having a glass of scotch at home. But sativas are for people like E. Like if he's like, man, I want to go paint. I feel like I want to paint. Then he's going to do sativa because it's going to give him a little bit of a pep, and it's going to make him, think about things differently. They both, look, weed makes you think a different way. So, you can be creative with indica as well. It's just that sativa is sort of a little bit more supercharged, a little bit more. It makes you
more of a head high versus a body.
Yeah, very good. That was probably better than indica couch because that was probably a head high versus a body high. Yeah, very good.
And thus concludes today's weed lesson.
There you go. Yeah, thank you, folks. Maybe I should have just gone through it from the article, but I thought that was an interesting little way to mix things up here. All right. Once again, James, you got anything? Got anything you want to go with here? Or should I just keep going?
Well, I want to do a little Veterans Day, just kind of discussion here. Since 11/11 Veterans Day, we haven't mentioned it yet, and it's a really important day.
All right, I'm gonna go get a drink.
Wow, this is new.
How's that feel when you roll into something?
That feels really, really bad. That feels.
You're talking, but I can't hear you. I'm gonna go get a drink. I'm gonna go get something to drink.
That does feel bad. Ouch! Ow!
Tell me about Veterans Day.
Ow! Emil, this does hurt.
I'm here.
Well, how long is it going to take him? Because if he's going to miss the beginning, it's going to screw up the whole thing. All right. Anyway, I'll just tell you then, Emil. How about that?
Okay.
All right. So the Afghanistan withdrawal hasn't sat too well with me, and it's not because of the withdrawal itself. I'm glad we're out of there. I think we were there too long. I don't mind the fact that we went in. Of course, we should have gone and wrecked shop somewhere after 9/11. But people are excessively down about it, as if leaving Afghanistan means we like lost some sort of war. I've been listening to a lot of like history podcasts, and I've read books and watched documentaries and stuff, and we just have a really funny sense of what it means to lose a war. Because for most of human history, if you lost a war, your wife got raped until she was dead, and then your kids were carted off, and your daughter was sold into child sex slavery, and your son was either murdered on the spot, turned into a slave, or raised to become a soldier for the people that just killed you. And so when they act like, oh, this whole Afghanistan thing was for nothing, we just lost. No, we didn't lose anything. I didn't see any Afghanis holding any American territory at any time. There wasn't some Afghani militia that was patrolling the streets of Los Angeles. They didn't storm the banks right outside of DC. It's almost like a cartoonish way we treat war these days, where it's not even a draw. We just went over there, we wrecked shop, we were there for 20 years, we got bored, we left. I consider the whole damn thing a victory, and I think it accomplished.
God, you're an idiot.
I know. No, I think it accomplished what we wanted to
accomplish. Nothing. That's why we were never attacked. We don't fight wars on our own shores. We go other places with a set of goals in mind, and the idea is to achieve these goals. And when we fail to achieve the goals, the only way that we can chalk that in the scorecard is to say that we lost. Now, you're right. It's not like we've been conquered. That's a whole different sort of thing. But I mean, if you don't achieve your goals and you have to pull out because it's starting to be too much of a drag on the economy and the people are getting tired of people coming home in bags and shit. Yeah, I mean, that's a loss. It's not a classic medieval war loss.
All right, but put on your libertarian sunglasses just for a second. And I don't like any overseas wars. I don't think we should be participating in any of them, because
agreed, 100%.
There's no such thing as nation building. That's not. Armies have never in history gone out and built schools and made sure your bridges were all intact and stuff. That's
James. Hold on, pause. I believe we should be an isolationist nation the way Jefferson wanted. I think that we should be isolated. I think we're far enough away from the other parts of the world where all the trouble is that we can have a nice little harmonic, beautiful life here. But we don't. We engage in what you just said, nation building.
Well, isolationist
is bullshit and has been for 100 years. Go ahead.
Isolation is a little too far, and Thomas Jefferson wasn't the biggest isolationist because he did send the Marines to Tripoli, and that's how they ended up in the song. So
But
he didn't keep our soldiers on our soil at all costs until he was forced to do something. But definitely more isolationist than we are now. However,
Tripoli was a favor for the French, who
So what?
Jefferson made a bunch. Jefferson made a bunch of deals with the French. So the Tripoli, the North Africa campaigns were all about making good on promises made to the French. But if he had his own, if he didn't owe the French, he would have been an isolationist. Continue.
Yeah, I can feel that. All right, now look, I'm a libertarian, and I wouldn't have sent the guys over there to begin with. Definitely wouldn't have had them there for 20 years. So I'm against the fact that they were there, and I'm happy they left. Don't get me wrong on any of that.
100%.
But
Agree.
I never had in my head that our goals are going to go over there and turn them into a peaceful nation that basically looks like us and has a classically liberal democracy.
Never gonna happen.
Yeah, no, I never had that in my head. I just knew we're all just over there exploding stuff and blowing stuff up and basically making my life miserable. But the other hand of libertarian stuff aside, they're not ready to have the classically liberal democracy that we were trying to give them. It didn't work when we tried it in Afghanistan or Iraq. It doesn't quite settle, the way we had hoped, and everyone can agree to that. But what we did do is when not on September 11th, but on September 12th, we didn't know when the attacks were going to stop, and first thing I wanted to do once we knew the attack stopped is just go over there and wreck shop and just turn over some tables and blow a bunch of stuff up and make life so goddamn hellish that this isn't going to happen for another generation. And here we
100%
are.
agree.
Yeah. So here we are 20 years later, almost, a de facto generation. And they haven't had the balls to pull off something to that scale or the ability or the resources or the logistics or whatever the excuse is. It hadn't happened again. And by that, if you had gone back and told me on September 12th, look, we're going to go and we're going to be in Afghanistan for 20 years. We're going to have this many dead and this many casualties, but there's not going to be another 9/11. And then we're just going to pull out. It'll fall back to the Taliban again. I would say I consider that a victory. I consider that
after all that.
Yeah,
that's a victory. No,
that's a victory.
Look, we stayed there 20 years because we tried to figure out ways to make money over there. We couldn't make money over there because we couldn't broker any deals with any of these people because none of these people look at the world the way we do. They're not capitalists. They're not into democracy. They're not Christians. They don't see the whole global
right. And behind any war effort, there is going to be someone that's making a dollar off of it, and that doesn't necessarily discount or even give a demerit to the war effort itself. It's a legit criticism, but I think
we couldn't conquer them because people wouldn't stand for it. That would have been, you know what I mean? There would have been too. We could have dropped bombs over there and paved that entire place and turned it into whatever we wanted it to be. We would have enslaved people. We would have violated all kinds of human rights, but we don't have the stomach for that shit. So that's why you're right. We should have gone in on the 12th. Wrecked shop, as you say, and then, sometime after the first of the year, been back here and gone, okay, don't fuck with us because that's what happens.
Well,
the 20 years was ridiculous.
The ultimate pullout point is when we got bin Laden. The second bin Laden was dead and it was verified. I think we should have just pulled up stakes and got all our equipment and all our people and all our contractors and embassies and whatever and be like, we're out of here. I don't care if it collapses tomorrow. Job done. Later.
It created an economy, an entirely. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I mean we're all talking here. I think you fight these wars not for today, but for what we perceive to be the future or fear of the future. If you don't step in and help smaller countries, I think there's ultimately this fear that a Russia or China or one of these larger, powers is going to take them over. And eventually, if that much land becomes Russian or that much land becomes Chinese, that they then at some point in time down the road will be the superpower. And so I think we play this, we've got to stick our nose in business over here and business over there so we can keep the table kind of even, if you will, or where we maintain our own dominance that we have today. And is that the right philosophy? I don't know, but I don't know how at this point you back out of it when you got a Russia threatening to take over, Ukraine, or you got China threatening to take over, whatever country they're up against, now Taiwan or something like that. If you don't stop them, then what's it going to look like for our kids 50, 75, 100 years from now? And that's what I think why we're fighting these wars now, or why we're sticking our face in other people's business. But that's just my 2 cents.
Well, you brought up Russia. I mean, as of today, Russia is doing it again. They're saber rattling. They're messing with the Ukraine. Right? Do you remember what was it, like 6 years ago now, when Putin just decided that he wanted Crimea? So he just went down there and took it, and we were like, "Hey, you can't do that!" And he was like, "Stop me!" And we're like, "Nah." So they're doing it again today. They're now doing it with the
Well,
Ukraine.
I know, but at some point, I think that's going to drag us into that war,
I don't think it will.
or
I don't think it
Syria.
will. I think we'll yell about it and we'll bitch and moan and complain. We won't do anything. We don't need. Look, we care about. We care about Germany. There's only certain countries in Europe that we really care about, the economic powers that we do business with. We don't do a whole lot of business with the Ukraine and Crimea. So if Putin really wants those old former Soviet republics, we don't think he should have them. And on the world stage, we'll bitch and moan and complain about it. But ultimately, when push comes to shove, there's nothing. Now he tries to pull that shit in like Poland or in Germany or some of those countries. Yeah, then we're going to have to get involved because, we make money off of those places. But China is, what are we talking about here? China is the one to be worried about because China, them godless bastards. I don't know what's up with those guys. But I don't think we have a stomach for another war. I don't think this country has the stomach for another war for at least a decade.
Well, but I don't think we're in fear of, we're going to get taken over in our lifetime. Like I don't think that's like even in our mind like possible. But
Nobody
I
can
think
reach us. It's impossible. It really is impossible. We have never been invaded. The closest they got was the Japanese in Pearl Harbor, and Pearl Harbor is really fucking far. I mean, we are really an isolated nation. We are lucky. That's why we've never been invaded. People in Kansas City have never seen another nation's tanks roll down Main Street like they have in Poland or Germany or Italy or France. You know what I mean? We should just stay out of it. I just think we need to stay out of it all. Just let everybody else go to. You know who's got a nice life? Australians. Australians are like what? Twice the size of us. They got a nice life. Canada. Canada doesn't seem to have any problems. Canada has a nice life. Ireland. They got a nice life. This whole idea that we need to be chest thumpers and that we need to brag about being a superpower. I don't know. Is that really a good thing? Hasn't it caused us way more problems? Because now we got to be the world's bodyguard. We got to be the world's bouncer, And what was said about, we can't go in and fight all of these, little countries' battles. We don't. There are countries, there are awful things happening in countries in Africa for decades upon decades. We don't do shit over there. Same with Southeast Asia. We don't do shit over there. Vietnam, we only got involved because we were afraid that Russia was going to, plant their flag there. But as long as, it's
right.
not
But
like,
what was that fear about? Why were we afraid?
Communism spreading to that part of the world and then suddenly losing the shipping channels. That's really what it was about. It was about trade with that part of the world. We didn't want them to be communism. We needed them to be capitalists.
Yeah, I think, and ultimately I think that's our problem.
Yeah, well, it's all about, but that's it. That's fine. And you know what? That's what America's built on. If we just, but the wars, come on, man. Let's just defend our boundaries. Let's just make sure that nobody tries to attack San Diego or Virginia, with Florida, whatever. We're fine. We came close with the Cuban Missile Crisis. We backed them down. That was about as close as we ever came to having anybody really fronting an aggression close to us. We're fine. What's Canada going to attack us? Mexico? No, we're secure. We are secure here, and all that shit that goes on over there. I'm just, but I don't. James, I'll agree with you that I wouldn't call them losses. We've never been conquered. We're not a conquerable nation. You know how hard it would. Do you know how hard it would be for, like, let's say China to land forces on our shores. It'd be next to impossible.
Well, not if they landed them in like Portland or San Francisco.
Why? They got to
They'd be like,
traverse a whole
"Hey,
lot
come
of
on,
ocean. There's a
don't step in the
lot.
poop. Would you like some drug needles?"
We got a lot of submarines. We got a lot of shit going on up. We got Africa. Well, not Africa. Alaska. We got Alaska. Alaska would become like our last line of defense. We'll be fine. We are fine. We got no worries. Nobody's going to crash our shores and take over our country.
Well, I think there is value in some sort of intervention in some of these smaller countries, and whether I don't want to say it's morally right or not, whether it's like in our military interest, even for our homeland defense, whether or not it's for that.
Mm.
The one example that kind of sticks out is the Korean War. If we hadn't intervened in the Korean War, all of the Korean Peninsula would be North Korea now. And so it's kind of hard to look the 32 million South Koreans in the face and be like, yeah, we shouldn't have done that. We should have just let y'all be in North Korea. We shouldn't have intervened. There was no military reason. There was no home defense reason that we intervened in that war, and we all sent our grandfathers over there to die by the thousands to help you guys out. You know, it wasn't in our best interest, but damn, a lot of good came of it.
We cut bait. We gave them half the country. We said, you can't have the Korean Peninsula. And then they said, we're going to take half. And we were like, all right.
Well, yeah. And so, yeah, the strongest criticism of how we handled the Korean War is that we didn't stay long enough.
Well, no, it's that, yeah, we didn't. It's not like we successfully defended the Korean Peninsula after World War II. You say, how can you look at the 32 million South Koreans and look them in the eye? Well, how can you look at the however million North Koreans and say, yeah, we gave you guys up. We gave you guys up.
Yeah, no, that's exactly the point. It's like we say we shouldn't be involved in all these countries, but look what happened when we let North Korea go. Are those people better off? And I know it's not our job to make sure everyone is
right.
as best off as they could possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really hard to see concentration camps and human suffering on that massive scale that we could have prevented, and just shrugging it off, be like, well, you know, isolationism's better. And I'm fairly isolationist. I'm just letting you know where my own doubts and foibles come from.
We are such a broken country domestically that if we went to war with another country, half the nation would probably choose that side. I mean, I swear to God, we need to focus on domestic issues. We need to stop. We're not even engaged in nation building at this point. And our foreign policy, I don't even know what our foreign policy is. Remember, Trump for 4 years didn't even have a doctrine. He didn't have a foreign policy doctrine. So
it was America first.
Okay, which is kind of what I'm asking for, which is what I'm saying. Let's focus on the domestic issues in this country first before we ever even think about going to war with somebody again. Because we gotta fix this bullshit. We gotta fix the fact that you get people yelling at each other in Kroger store. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. We had people for 4 years defending Putin. American citizens who were like, come on, there's something wrong.
No one was pro-Putin.
Yes, a lot of people were pro-Putin. They were. Okay, but we won't get into that because we don't need to. Why? You know, we were having so much fun. We just did a whole thing on getting high, and now you brought us into some weird foreign policy debate. What the hell's wrong with you, James Parker?
That was his Veterans Day segment.
That's my Veterans Day rant.
You couldn't have been unifying in your Veterans Day segment. You had to be divisive. You had to trigger me. You know how
I was congratulating the veterans in Iraq and Afghanistan and pushing back against any pretense that it was anything other than a wild success. They didn't fail. Their buddies didn't die for nothing. They didn't suffer, and now they're scared of fireworks for nothing. A lot of good came of it, and even if it's not within the isolationist preferences of most of my libertarian friends, including myself, a lot of good, amazing things that have happened. The world has become a better place because of some of these interventions. And I was pointing out, 32 million South Koreans. We wouldn't have Samsung. We wouldn't have Hyundai. We wouldn't have LG. And that it's not just neutral. It's either that or they're in concentration camps, right? And they're 5 inches shorter than they otherwise would be. And so that's where this came from.
If we didn't have LG, we'd have Curtis Mathis making flat screen TVs. But Curtis Mathis doesn't exist anymore because LG does. You don't even probably know what Curtis Mathis is or
I know what
Zenith.
Curtis Mathis was. They made 800-pound TVs that cost $2,400 in 1984, and they didn't have a picture that was half as good as this one.
Well, we drove out. We don't make TVs anymore because it was too expensive.
The TV was a piece of furniture.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But the point is that South Korea went from a feudal backwater to one of the actual productive countries of the world, where they not only make stuff, but they get intellectual property, they get patents, they have corporations that actually invent stuff, design stuff, not just build stuff, not just snap together iPhones in China. They actually have the companies that are designing it and innovating it and bringing it forward. They are contributing to the global economy as a whole far more than the size of their country would warrant. They are punching above their weight class. Look, here's the deal. In retrospect, we gave the same deal to Afghanistan, but they didn't take it like the South Koreans took it. You got to give the South Koreans credit. When they had a generation to put their crap together, they did. That's all. Happy Veterans Day.
Yeah. The Japanese were a conquered nation who bounced back pretty quickly too. Those people in that part of the world, they got their shit together. They get their shit together really quick.
Well, Cambodia has some problems, and they're going to for a while.
But that's not Japan.
Yeah, but when you kill like all 2 million of your country's college graduates in a 5-year span, it's going to take a while.
Oh yeah, dude! I a couple weeks ago I watched a documentary about the Khmer Rouge. That
might be the worst, right?
Probably worse than Hitler, worse than Stalin. The Cambodian Khmer Rouge was like, but we were busy. We were busy a couple of clicks south, fucking up in Vietnam. We never even looked at Cambodia. Well, we went into Cambodia, but illegally and not on the books. It was all, beyond the books. All right. So this is going to make it really hard for me to go into my Kyle Rittenhouse thing that I wanted to do today.
It'll be fine. Let's go.
Did you get to watch any of the trial today?
Yeah, I was watching it with you.
So the prosecutor, Gary Oldman, he is now, he understands that he's completely screwed this whole thing up, like beyond fixable. I mean, dude's walking. Dude, there's no way he's going to be convicted after the way he's shit the bed. The judge hates him. That's a bad look. That's not very well. So what he's done, did you see? He's here, we'll pull this up here. He's now seeking lesser charges, which means he knows there's no way that he's going to get the homicide charge.
My question is, did he ever talk to the witness that he brought up?
Yeah, I mean, I would.
You would think not, though, because he asked the one guy in particular that was the prosecution's witness. He said that he pulled the gun on Kyle Rittenhouse first.
Yeah.
Like, why would that be your witness?
But he didn't mean to point it at him. It's like, so what? Did you point the gun at him? Oh, yeah, I was pointed right at him. But I didn't mean it. Well,
but I mean, if you're the prosecution and you're going after a guy for murder charges, why are you bringing him as your witness when he said that he pointed the gun at Rittenhouse first?
Because he's one of the victims. He's one of the people that the charges are attached to.
You pointed a gun at somebody first.
I know, and he admitted. I know. Well, but that's also indisputable because it's on video, and I've got the video. We'll watch the video. This is what I want to do. I wanted to break down some of the video of.
But that's just like the most amazingly boneheaded move of like. Yeah. Anybody's going to go, if a guy points a gun at me first and I then shoot back at him, that is self-defense.
I'm justified. Yeah. Prosecutors indicated in court Thursday that they plan to submit additional charges in the homicide trial of Kyle Rittenhouse, the 18-year-old who shot and killed 2 protesters last year at a chaotic demonstration in Wisconsin. Rittenhouse currently faces 6 charges for his actions in Kenosha on the night of August 25th, 2020, where he was armed with an AR-15 rifle. He killed Joseph Rosenbaum, 36, and Anthony Huber, 26, and injured Gage Grosskreutz. His charges, Gage Grosskreutz is who you're talking about, the guy who had the gun. His charges include 3 homicide-related charges: first-degree reckless homicide for killing Rosenblum, first-degree intentional homicide for killing Huber, and first-degree attempted intentional homicide for shooting Grosskreutz. Rittenhouse has pled not guilty to all counts. Now, prosecutors say they plan to ask the judge to allow the jury to consider lesser versions of at least 2 of those charges. Those related to the shootings of Huber and Rosenkreutz. This judge is not going to allow it. He's going to go, no, dude, we are rolling with the charges as they stand. Let's go to the jury. Closing arguments are Monday. Let's go to the jury. Let's get this thing over with. This kid's got college to apply for, or whatever the hell he's going to do. There is no way this kid is going. They might stick something on him. Like, they also tried to get him with a curfew violation. They tried to add that earlier in the week, and the judge said, yeah, no, you can't add charges just because now you think you want to add a curfew violation charge. So I was talking earlier to James. Go ahead. You got anything you want to say about this? You're being quiet there. You're playing
Emil's saying exactly what I'm thinking. I mean, I have a little bit of gray area in the Kyle Rittenhouse situation on the first kill. I haven't seen any video of it. I haven't even seen a description of it other than he was cornered and accosted at the family friend's business that he was, protecting, and somehow he ended up shooting a guy. So I don't know if the whole case, what we see on TV and what we've seen in the video, yeah, those all look like obviously justified shootings, especially that last one. But I don't know what happened in the first one. So I was thinking in the Kyle Rittenhouse case, I know what those last 2 shootings look like, but maybe he's going to get in trouble for the first one, So I was kind of interested to see what comes out of the case.
I don't think so.
But they're not even focusing on that one. I thought that was where the play was. I thought that's what we were going to be talking about. I can't even believe we're focusing at all on these last 2.
All right, so here's what we got. Here's raw video from the night. Now,
the first one?
This is the first.
Oh, no, this is where the guy's saying the N-word, isn't it?
Yes, this is where we first meet the innocent victim, Joseph Rose. This dude had just been released from a mental institution that day. The object that he threw at Kyle Rittenhouse while he was chasing him was the plastic bag filled with his belongings that they give you when they discharge you from the nut hut. This guy had come straight from the mental institution out to insert himself in this mess. So people on the right, he wasn't one of you. And the Black Lives Matter folks, he wasn't one of you there. This dude was just out there to cause problems. Now let's watch him. Let's watch the victim. This is where we first meet him. Okay. This is Joseph. Let's make sure we get his name right. Joseph Rosenbaum. Okay. Here we go.
Their property. Hey, no one touch anyone.
They're racist and they're out here to look cool.
That's him in see the maroon shirt with the bald head?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the first victim. This is the guy who was chasing and throwing stuff at Kyle Rittenhouse when Kyle Rittenhouse stopped, felt like he was in danger, and fired.
Here is where we first see Joseph Rosenbaum, the first person Kyle Rittenhouse fatally shoots that night. He joins the fight against the armed civilians.
Shoot me, nigga! Shoot me, nigga!
As other protesters try to stop him.
Hey, stop! Hey, they're gonna get me all shot!
Rosenbaum has just been released from the hospital after undergoing mental health treatment. His reasons for being here are unclear, and he doesn't appear to have attended a protest before. But his actions on this night will add to an already volatile situation. At this point, the group of protesters...
All right, there, see his little plastic bag filled with his belongings that he got from the mental house? All right, so let's talk about this guy. This guy wasn't some innocent peacenik who was out there and who was murdered by somebody who went hunting lefties, okay? That is not what happened here. This guy is an aggressive lunatic. We just saw him in that video. Shoot me, shoot me. He was being, people were trying to hold him back. All right, so we're all, can we get some kind of agreement on that? I mean, or does he seem like
he seems to me like he's out of control at this point.
He's a troublemaker.
No, we all see the same thing. Agreed.
Okay, because we don't all see the same thing. Because people see that and go, oh, well, he's an innocent victim. No, that dude caused a lot of problems. He was a troublemaker. So
look, there is a little bit of a soft spot in my heart to where you're allowed to say completely horrific, offensive things, and you don't deserve to be shot just on that alone. But that is evidence that he's not just some happy-go-lucky protester who wants
He was overly
to make the world.
aggressive.
Yeah.
He was challenging people to fight. He had to be held back. He was challenging people with guns to shoot him. I mean,
I'll agree with James. Just he is overly aggressive, but just because he is saying that does not mean he deserves to be dead.
okay, except that now taking the 30,000-foot view, you wouldn't have known that in the moment, but now we know that he just came out of a mental institution. We know that he's insane and that he's done time in jail for pedophilia, for molesting children. I mean, this is a
Again, outside
Ooh.
of this, that is still not something that Kyle Rittenhouse would have known.
No. Yes, you're right. Okay, so let's watch. So there he is in the maroon shirt and the bald head. Let's watch what happens.
Out even more.
All of this is done pretty much in the name of Black Lives Matter, and there's definitely black people in the crowd, but there definitely was more white people.
The armed men chalk up any conflict with the protesters to miscommunication.
We had some negative interactions, but that was more of a confusion on their part about what we were about.
But many of the protesters feel uncomfortable with the armed presence. They accuse Balsh and others of playing vigilante.
Why else are you going to show up, especially Kyle Rittenhouse, show up to a city you don't even live in, armed to the teeth to protect your community? This is not your community, pal. You don't live here.
Are you guys protecting that building? Yes!
All right, now this is interesting. These are the police talking to the armed vigilantes who were claiming that they were just protecting property.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But the police praise the armed men.
Would handle them.
I don't believe that for a second.
The police continue pushing
I'm sorry, I
protests,
jumped back too far.
but his actions on this night will add to an already volatile situation. At this point, the group of protesters has thinned out even more.
All of this is done pretty much in the name of Black Lives Matter, and there's definitely black people in the crowd, but there definitely was more white people.
The armed men chalk up any conflict with the protesters to miscommunication.
We had some negative interactions, but that was more of a confusion on their part about what we were about.
But many of the protesters feel uncomfortable with the armed presence. They accuse Balsh and others of playing vigilante.
Why else are you going to show up, especially Kyle Rittenhouse, show up to a city you don't even live in, armed to the teeth to protect your community? This is not your community, pal. You don't live here.
Are you guys protecting that building? Yes! Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome. But the police praise the armed men and offer them assistance.
You need water? We need water. We'll give you a couple. We appreciate you guys. We really do.
This is not the group of people we want here, but you can open carry weapons. So there wasn't a violation of the law.
But just like the protesters, the armed civilians are violating the curfew, and police treat them much differently.
After that curfew, it didn't seem like police was trying to actively disperse or arrest any of the armed civilians. Why is that?
I'm not aware of any of the protesters that weren't being violent that were arrested either. Peaceful people were not getting arrested that night.
All right. So any thoughts on what we've seen so far? James?
No, there seems to be a pretty fair recollection of what we
Okay,
know.
one of the big contentions that people throw out is why were the police being so nice to the armed men that were stationed in front of businesses? Do you have an explanation for that? What would you say to someone who says, well, why were the police being nice to them?
Well, because one side of there's an ideological divide that's at play here, and we all recognize it. One side of them hates the cops and is protesting against the cops, and the other side, when they walk by, they're like, "Hello, good to see you, officer." And maybe they're just because they don't treat them like crap. Or
I think it's more simple than that. I think it's one side was burning down businesses, and another side said, "Don't burn down this business." That's what it was. Those guys.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing. One side is pro law enforcement, the other
Yeah.
side is clearly anti law enforcement. Yeah, that has something to do with it.
Any thoughts so far? I mean,
Well, I mean, besides the obvious, the cops are outnumbered. I mean, you're gonna want support when you're on the police department and you got a bunch of people, a whole mob of people that are against you, burning down. I mean, we saw police precincts burn down.
Yeah, well, in Minneapolis. Why is it that during the LA riots, the Korean business owners who armed up were heralded as heroes? They were heroes for protecting their American dream.
Rightfully so.
But somehow now look, we can have a long conversation about, well, that kid came all the way from Antioch, Illinois. All right, all the way is 10 minutes away. He didn't come all the way.
Yeah, and his stepdad lives in Kenosha, and he has a
he-
room there at his
He
dad's
hangs
house.
out there. If you live in Antioch, Illinois, you're very familiar with Kenosha. If you're
drove in from Georgia, I would be a little suspect, but this is ridiculous. Yeah.
And yes, there are some ideological issues that I personally have with these guys walking around with their guns. I think that they are many of them, they want to be warriors. They want to be heroes. They have hero complexes. They're a little bit weird in that regard, but they were not patrolling the streets acting as police. They were standing on private properties, making sure that buildings weren't getting burned down. That's what we're seeing here. And it was the other side, the side that this was all about Jacob Blake. And I might be with the side that is angry about what happened with Jacob Blake. But the minute it moves from the Civic Center and holding signs and shouting things and moves down to Sheridan Road in the heart of Kenosha and begins to burn shit up, I'm going home. That's when it stops being anything that I can support.
Well, the other thing that strikes me as odd, this kid is 17.
Yeah.
He still should be under the supervision of his mom and his dad.
There's a whole lot of crazy shit about his family. There's a whole lot.
How
his mom drove him there.
That's what I'm saying. How he gets there with his parents to go out with an AR-15.
Yeah, his mama sent him there with a gun. There you go, honey.
Makes no sense to me. Like that part there, you go to yourself, okay, stupid move, stupid move, stupid move.
There are a whole bunch of things that I would like to personally convict Kyle Rittenhouse of, but specifically, he's on trial for murder, and that's what we're looking at here. Was this murder? All right, should we continue? Let's keep going, because here we're about to get to the bad stuff.
Hey, Dad, if you can keep people from pointing their guns at the crowd.
The armed men appear emboldened by the inaction of the police towards them. Minutes after encountering the officers, Rittenhouse explains to a reporter from the Daily Caller why he thinks he belongs
Here
in
he
Kenosha.
Our job is to protect this business, and part of my job is also help people. If there's somebody hurt, I'm running into harm's way. That's why I have my rifle.
All right, see, I got a problem with that. You see, I'm running into harm's way. You're not supposed to say that about yourself. Other people are supposed to describe the actions that you naturally do as running into. You're not supposed to say that as yourself. That's self-glorification. He is a hero complex. He's an explorer with the police department. He works with the firemen in his local hometown. This kid is a fucked up kid on all different levels. He has a hero complex. I'm running into harm's way. You're not supposed to say that about yourself, but he's a dumb kid, so here we go. But
I think it's interesting that he said he's running into harm's way, and then right after that he goes, that's why I have my rifle.
It sounds like they were asked, why do you have your rifle? And he's like, well, I'm not just here for something bad. If someone gets hurt, I'm going to go run into harm's way. So he needs to have, that's why he has this protection, so he can help other people, so he can be in harm's way and still provide aid if that's what's necessary.
He should not have the rifle in the first place, and I don't understand why that's not a charge. Why didn't they go for he's 17 years old. You can't have that gun in Wisconsin until you're 18.
Yeah, you can.
No, you're allowed to have that. You're not allowed to purchase it, but my understanding is you are allowed to have it and carry it because it's a long gun.
Yeah, long gun. long
Okay,
as
yeah,
it
you know what? You're right now because I remember him explaining the difference between why he didn't have a pistol.
Yeah, you can't
You
carry a
can't have
pistol if you're under 18.
but you can an
Well,
AR-15.
and the law makes sense.
America makes sense, yeah.
Well, no, that absolutely makes
No,
sense.
it doesn't. All right, let's watch. Let's just watch. We don't need to get sidetracked.
Minutes until he'll fire his first shot. At this point, several of the people we've been hearing from are now close to each other, and the situation is about to turn deadly. Nathan Pete is filming from here. Hannah Giddings and her boyfriend Anthony Huber are nearby. Corey Washington is here. His footage captures both Gage Grosskreutz and Ryan Balch walking by. Then, Kyle Rittenhouse runs past his camera.
I had been looking kind of at him the entire time because he looked young, he had a gun. So at the point where I see him run by me, I was like, that's weird. So I followed down in that direction. I know he's running too, but let's check it out, right?
Rittenhouse walks towards a parking lot where cars are being vandalized. He passes Joseph Rosenbaum, who was fighting with the armed men at the gas station earlier. Rosenbaum now starts chasing Rittenhouse.
All right, so here we go now. All right, so Rittenhouse is now running. He's being chased by crazy dude who just got out of the mental institution.
Hey, can I just say, whoever put this video together did a really good job with all the maps and spelling everything out. Wow.
New York Times. All right, see, look at there. He's throwing his hospital bag at him.
Throws a plastic bag that holds his belongings from the hospital. Close behind them, a man holds up a handgun and fires it. We don't know why. Then Rosenbaum lunges towards Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse fires 4 times.
Had I been in his shoes.
Okay, so there you go. There is the first situation. Thoughts, E, on what you just saw there?
Well, again, we've got a 17-year-old with an AR-15 that's supposedly there to help people. Where he's running to, I got no clue. Now he gets chased, and this guy throws a bag at him. I think if the gun doesn't go off, he probably doesn't shoot the guy 4 times.
But what happens if the gun doesn't go off? What happens to him?
I don't know. He maybe gets his ass beat.
Right. Does maniac mental guy kick his head in so that he has brain damage? Does he possibly... Come on. Emily says, Pugs, Rittenhouse does not know anything about the crazy pedo guy. No, but what he knows is that there's a maniac running after him for no reason. That's what he knows. He doesn't have to know the clinical diagnosis of why the maniac is chasing after him. He's being chased.
I think the gunshot, and you can't change what's happened, but I think the gunshot definitely put hey, I need to do something about this.
Somebody might be I think somebody's shooting at me now. I need to defend myself. James, what do you say?
All legit. All legit. Yeah, no, this I always try and find the chinks in my own armor here, like the gray area that could be. And so maybe the narrator has all the details wrong, but if what he just said is 100% correct with the video we just saw, then this all still looks okay.
Here,
I mean, legal. It's not what I would recommend my child go through with
It's a terribly fucked up situation, but you cannot convince me that this kid is guilty of murder. So let's watch the video again. Here we go.
Rosenbaum now starts chasing Rittenhouse.
He's running away from the confrontation.
That holds his belongings from the hospital.
If he would just let him run away.
Close behind them, a man holds up a handgun.
And this fucker.
We don't know why.
Okay, now they're shooting at me.
Rosenbaum lunges towards Rittenhouse.
Okay.
Rittenhouse fires 4 times.
Had I been in his shoes getting chased and then I heard a gunshot, I can't say that I would have done anything differently.
Rosenbaum, who's been hit, falls to the ground. There are 3 more shots from someone else in the parking lot.
Oh shit. We got shots fired, guys. We got shots fired. Pop, 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 pop. And I was like, oh, so they are really shooting. I gotta find some cover. Oh man, maybe they really are really just trying to kill people. And if they were going to take advantage of a situation, I'm a black person, and I don't want to be a target.
Rittenhouse calls a friend, while others are helping Rosenbaum, who's on the ground. Then he flees the scene.
Okay. So he has now left the scene where this happened. You got to imagine he's freaking out a little bit, and now he's being pursued by people.
He didn't disarm himself after the first shooting. He continued to run around. As a gun owner, I view his actions as completely irresponsible.
You come running through looking wild with a gun on you, people are going to think that you're doing something wild with a gun on you. So they reacted the way they should have reacted.
As soon as they were all saying he shot somebody, Anthony.
So now they're all chasing him. He's trying to run away. And it looks as if he's running to the cops. So just watch how it plays out. So here comes the first guy, Anthony Huber, who just comes up from behind him and clocks him.
Gone. And I tried to grab onto him and nobody was going to stop him, you know? And then I hear a bunch more gunshots down the road and I was like, I just had a feeling it was him.
Rittenhouse trips and falls.
Okay, so now he's fallen. He's on the ground. He's being surrounded now by a bunch of people who God knows what. I mean, if you were him on the ground, would you feel in fear of your life at this moment? That's the question.
Of course.
You know, this is the screwed up part of this video. The people that are chasing him because he's a crazy man running with a gun.
Because they think he's an active shooter.
In their mind, because they think he's an active shooter.
Just as we'd expect a hero to chase a guy who just flipped off a few clips in a mall, right?
Right.
And then you see him running through. So these people don't know all that we've just seen. All they know is that this dude just went pap, 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 and now he's running with the gun, and these people are chasing him.
Right. So now we've got essentially bad decision 1. He's taken the gun into this area. 2, he hears a shot. So because he shouldn't have had the gun to begin with, he now shoots and kills somebody. And now you've got a crowd reacting to a guy that just popped 4 bullets into somebody and took off running. And so yet another bad decision by him. And now this guy's about to get killed.
Anthony Huber hits Rittenhouse with a
All right, so there you see him. He swaps at him right in the head with the skateboard
and attempts to disarm him.
And then he grabs the gun. Now he's trying to grab the gun. You've just hit me in the head with a skateboard, and now you're trying to take my gun. I'm thinking you're probably going to shoot me with my gun.
Rittenhouse shoots him in the chest.
We can go back and see that just a little bit more. I mean, it's a person dying, right? Well, let's just watch it.
Rittenhouse trips and falls. Anthony Huber hits Rittenhouse with a skateboard and attempts to disarm him. Rittenhouse shoots him in the chest. Here is Gage Grosskreutz with his gun drawn. He also gets shot and calls out for help.
I need a fucking medic!
He had a gun. He had a gun pointed at him. He was on the ground. He also had a gun on the ground. If you're on the ground and some guy runs up to you with a gun pointed at you and you also have a gun, don't you have a reasonable expectation that you're in danger?
Look,
how is this a question?
Look, how does Emily see this video and make the statement she just made? He killed people who were trying to defend themselves against him. He is a murderer. The guy that went up and hit him with the skateboard was not defending himself against Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse did not initiate a confrontation or an act of force.
He was running away from the conflict.
Emily, you see it on video right now.
And what you away from it.
And what you see on the screen right now isn't some innocent victim who got shot by some bloodthirsty maniac. This is the natural result of what happens when you get second place in the Kenosha quick draw competition of 2020. That is a completely reasonable expectation of what the results is of what he just did. You pull a gun on someone with an AR-15 on the ground who just got banged on the head with a skateboard. He's the victim.
Who's already fired. He's already shown a propensity to defend himself with deadly force.
Well, the mistake that this guy made, Grossen, is he should have shot first. How he's second, like you said, to the trigger after a guy just popped off 4 down the street and just shot this guy in the chest. I mean, you know, if you are trying to play the hero, you should have popped this guy. You know, Rittenhouse should have got the bullet first.
All right, hold on, wait, let's see the gun
hits
again.
Rittenhouse with a skateboard.
Okay, so
and
here's the
attempts
first
to
guy,
disarm him.
and now he's
Rittenhouse
shot. That guy dies. That guy with the backpack, he's about to fall in the street. He dies. I think this is.
Yeah, he got hit straight in the heart.
So here's the other guy now.
Here,
see this? He's got a gun right here. This is his gun. He's pointing it at him. He's on the ground. Dude.
is Gage Grosskreutz with his gun drawn. He also gets shot and calls out for help.
I need a fucking medic! I'm trying to get on the back.
The reality of it is this is.
And that's him.
Going to be a part of my life from here on out.
Keep him right there. We're coming out to you.
Rittenhouse runs toward police vehicles and raises his hands.
Hey, he just shot them! Hey, dude right here just shot them! Dude right here just shot all of them down there!
The police make no attempt to stop him, and he isn't arrested until the next day.
I didn't talk to them, but I'm sure they did.
All right, so that's it. There you go. That's those are the 3 incidents of which he's being charged with murder for. And I don't like this kid. I think this kid's a little weirdo. He's a little homeschooled, weird QAnon. His family's all QAnoned out. They're bizarre people. But that doesn't mean that we have to throw out our rational thoughts when it comes to what is murder and what isn't. This kid shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have been there with a gun, but he was, and this happened. So now we have to deal with what actually happened. Not, well, he was there and he put himself in it. No. This kid was in every instance where he fired his weapon. This kid seemed to make every reasonable attempt to flee the situation, to make the situation stop being violent. And he was pursued by people. I think he had, look, again, I don't like this kid. I saw the picture of him in the bar doing the little white power signs. You know,
he is a murderer, period. Emily, how can you see that and still think he's a murderer?
See, the way I see it here, it's like you have people that shouldn't have had guns to begin with that got into a gunfight.
Oh, yeah.
And the minute they got into a gunfight, they really weren't killers. If Rittenhouse was a killer, the guy he shot in the arm, he would have finished him off. He would have shot again with his AR-15. He turned and he went the other direction. The guy that got shot in the arm.
Great point. He was a true murderer. He wouldn't have just wounded that guy in the arm. He would have walked up to him Dirty Harry style and put one in his
back from where he was sitting.
Instead, he walked towards the police to turn himself in.
Right. And the guy that got shot in the arm, that was second to the draw, okay, he still wasn't rendered unable to shoot Rittenhouse. I mean, he could have shot him after he got shot in the arm when Rittenhouse turned and went the other way. He was busy calling for a medic. Obviously, he was in pain.
I don't think he can open a peanut butter jar right now, Emil.
Well, but I mean, he has 2 arms. You know, I don't know. If I'm shot.
He's not dead. Anthony Huber got it worse.
And he had a pistol.
Pedophile got it worse.
You know, he's screaming for a medic on the side of the road, looking at his arm and probably going, oh my God, what just happened to me? But he obviously wasn't intent on killing him to begin with, or he'd shot him first. And so you got 2 people that are carrying guns pointed at people, but not capable of doing the deed.
See, this is what I have been saying the last couple of days here about the 10% on the right and the 10% on the left. The crazy 10% on the right see him as an infallible hero who should be venerated as a saint in the war on society. Then you got the people on the left, that 10%, who Emily sounds like she might be in league with. I'm not saying she is, but the people on the left who just disregard all of the facts that we have from video that we can watch and just call him a murderer. The 80% of us in the middle have to be able to look at this and go, yeah, I mean, he was trying to take himself out of the situation and they just kept chasing him. They just kept threatening him. And the question becomes, did he have a reasonable right to believe his life was in danger? And I say, hell yeah, he did. He was being chased by angry, crazy people, beating him with skateboards, and then a dude walking up to him with a pistol. Yes, he had
I'll admit this. I'm on the side of the left. Okay.
Yeah, of course you are. But you're not in the crazy 10%. You're in that 80% gray that leans left.
But if I'm sitting on that jury and I've watched that video, I think it's a bunch of unfortunate circumstances that happened. And if I change mindset from first guy that got shot and died, the second guy that tried to attempt to take his gun away and got shot and died, and the third guy that pulled the gun on him, each of those guys had different reasons for doing it. I think the first guy was a lunatic provoking people, saw a guy with a gun and that was running and decided he
Scare
was
the
going to
hell out of me, throwing his crazy mental bag at me.
he was going to be a badass and chase him down. Bad decision, dude. That's how you ended up dead.
Yeah.
The second guy, okay, he was trying to go after a guy that he thought was an active shooter, and he ended up dead trying to disarm him. I wouldn't say necessarily a bad decision, an unfortunate decision, and he ended up getting shot. Third guy, you pull a gun and another guy's got a gun, you got to be quicker to the trigger than that. Fortunately, you're not dead. Your arm's probably messed up for, the rest of your days here. Yeah. And that's unfortunate. And then Rittenhouse at the very end, walking to the police and putting his hands up. I mean, he just looks like a guy that was in a first person shooter game that just got to the end of it and was like, okay, this is it. I'm out. And then how he doesn't get taken out by the cops, like, hey, I'm here to surrender. Just a bunch of bad stuff.
All of these thoughts that Emil and I are sharing based on the video evidence that we saw is not any sort of endorsement of Kyle Rittenhouse as a human being.
Hell no.
We are simply saying that according to what we are seeing here, I think he's a little asshole. Again, I keep going back to the picture in the bar where he's doing the white power thing with the other like weird ass white power people. He's not. I think he's a little prick. But life in prison, 17 years old, and Emily saying, well, he put himself in that to begin with. No danger would have been had if he had not been there. Agree 100%. But he was there. That ship has sailed. You have to deal with the reality of what happened.
And there's nothing criminal about being in a stupid situation. And if being in a stupid situation is a crime, then Rosenbaum committed a crime. The hubris guy and the Gross and Croats.
They were all breaking curfew. They were all violating curfew.
And Gross Krauts or whatever his name is, he was in this stupid situation pursuing violence while he was armed with the gun. So there's plenty of stupidity to go around. They're all pretty stupid for being there.
Yeah.
Got to give them that.
Yeah. And I mean, we've been watching this trial for, days now. It started November 1st, I want to say. It's been over a week almost. They went after him for murder charges. The next day, the murder charges were filed before they even had all of this video evidence to look at. But the left was screaming that they needed a pelt for this carnage that occurred on Sheridan Avenue in Kenosha, and they filed these murder charges, and now the sun is shining and it's putting, the light of day on all the evidence. And it's quite obvious that they don't have a convictable case. They just don't. It's not murder. And now the news today is that the prosecutor, Gary Oldman, is asking the judge if he can just slide in a couple lesser charges because he knows there's no way he's going to win this on murder.
Well, I think the first thing that needs to happen is gun laws with respect to minors, carrying them into protests and not in a hunt. Like there needs to be a limit on the amount of people that can be in a vicinity for it to then become illegal for a minor to have a handgun. Like, I think that, okay, you're allowed to have a handgun is for guys like James that live out in Tyler or Terrell or wherever the hell we're going to call it. And they're taking that gun out into the woods and they're going to go hunting. I don't think that law ever or lack of law ever was contemplated for minors to be able to carry a long gun into a protest.
Yeah, it's a whole nother argument. But
I
because all
think
of them,
that's exactly what it was for. The very foundation of this country was a group of regular citizens with long guns showing up in a protest form, and some of them were minors when they shot at the British. It's not like it's out of our culture or our history or our norms. And the problem with America and gun violence isn't minors with long guns putting down people in protest. It almost never happens. The overwhelming majority of our violent crime is done with handguns. So it's not like there's something special that should be done with long guns as far as minors running around there. It's not, minors with long guns are not a problem in the United States.
Well, but okay, I think anybody, when I was at the protest downtown Dallas and there were guys running around with long guns that were not law enforcement, I felt uncomfortable, even though they weren't identifying themselves as Rittenhouse said friendly. They seem like if anybody was going to get upset at them, it would be the police officers, and people that didn't have guns would be subjected to possibly getting shot because guys that had guns on supposedly our side were exercising their, Second Amendment right.
if you have an issue with something and you gather with a whole bunch of people, you have a right to protest. You have a right to scream and yell. You have a right to be disruptive. You have a right to do all of those things. That's all protected. But the minute you start a revolution by burning down car dealerships, by torching 7-Elevens, it stops being a protest, and I stop supporting that right. That's all. That's what happened here. Yeah, I might have been. I have engaged with from Chicago. I used to get caught in Black Lives Matter traffic all the time. I mean, they do. People don't realize this, but they do marches every weekend in Chicago. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's great. This is your right, and every single one that I've seen has been peaceful. But when they stop being peaceful, that's when they stop getting my support as a fellow American, as somebody who supports them. So, and you can't say, hey, we're going to take this up a notch. We're going to burn down downtown Kenosha and not expect other citizens to go, no, you're fucking not. Those people are not evil because they said, no, fuck you. You aren't burning down our downtown area.
Right.
Messed up situation? Absolutely. But, that's just where we are. It's where we are. All right. Boy, we started out so zany and wacky. We started out with a lighthearted kind of romp, silliness, and then we got into a bunch of serious stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. Or at the very least, I hope that it was okay. I mean, I don't know how.
So did the defense rest today?
Yes. Yeah. Closing arguments begin on Monday, and we're going to find out tomorrow what the judge says about the lesser charges that the prosecution is now trying to bring. Walk away from the big charges that they know they can't win. Maybe we'll get something. Maybe you'll get something. There's a compromise to be made, I'm sure.
All right, Dancing with the Stars.
James, thank you very much. We'll see you on Sunday night. We don't do any more Pillow Talk shows. This has been a Thursday edition, so there goes James. James, wave bye-bye. Yeah. And Sunglasses, see you tomorrow at noon, or you got anything going on?
Yeah, tomorrow I'll be here at noon. I might need to take off about 1:30.
All right, there he goes. That's E. He's gone. And I'm gone too. Thank you so much. Appreciate you joining us. Again, we do this 2 times a day at noon. We call it high noon. And then we come back again at 9 o'clock. We'll see you on Sunday. That's the next time we do Pillow Talk. Bye, everybody. Just live off the land. Serenity is what I found. I have to make a stand. Everyone has a dream. Honey, so did I. I was lost in the world, enough to make you cry. I was down and out, without a doubt, looking for my home. I was down and out, without a doubt, the only home I've known. I was down and out, without a doubt, looking for my home. I was down and out.
out, without a doubt, the only home I've known.